And we're back. Let's see here. Where's my chat? There's my chat. Still new to this. You guys go easy on me. How are we doing, everybody? Welcome back. Here we go indeed. We're back. I'm going to move this chat. I don't like it here. We're going to go. Can I go here? There we go. Sorry, I'm moving some things around here. How are we doing, everybody? Good? Good. I hope we're all ready to do some learning today. We're going to learn about... I don't like this either. I'm just going to pop this out. There we go. All right, there we go. Now I can see what you guys are saying. Sweet. Hello. Reboot, Skylar. Alex. Zenith. Cornhuskers. Colton. Welcome, 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 everybody. Oh, okay. We have a giveaway. How you fix your scratched Quest 3 lenses? Boy, are you in luck, Super Purple Games, because that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Scratches kind of come in all shapes and sizes. This state right here that you guys can see is probably the most repairable level of Quest 3 scratches, which is that we just kind of have these scuffs from either wiping it down with a rough cloth or glasses. I see that a lot. If there's deep grooves, like I can feel them with my finger, then it's probably too deep to remove in the method that I'm about to show you guys. But this is a pretty foolproof, reliable method for removing scratches like these ones. The downsides here are that you can only do this like maybe once or twice. So if your Quest 3 gets to this state, you kind of get one go at it, and if you scratch your lenses up again, then you're kind of out. So you really need to take really good care of them after this. I always recommend the lens protectors, but if you don't have the lens protectors and this happens to you, and then I can fix your lenses or you fix your own lenses, then certainly after doing this, you'll want to invest in some lens protectors. I didn't say who won yet. We have a countdown timer going. Do you actually play VR that much or just fix them? Mostly fix them. I play VR sometimes. Josh Ward, what's up? Yeah, you always got to use microfiber cloth, Skylar, for sure. It's pretty foolproof as far as, I mean, clean microfiber cloth. Don't use like one of my microfiber cloths, because I use my microfiber cloths for all sorts of things and they get nasty. So get a clean microfiber cloth. I think PSVR 2 is the hardest thing to take apart and repair as far as I understand, right? No, I don't think so. They're definitely not fun to replace the cables on, but I still think the Quest Pro is probably the bane of my existence personally. It's probably what I like to I don't enjoy the repairs when they come in. I do them. We do fix Quest Pros, but I really don't like repairing them if I don't have to. So thank you. If I win, then I get to play with my brother. Yeah. I'm excited. We're all going to find out the winner together. Do you have lens protectors that you recommend? Not right now. I've been talking to a lot of people. There's so many out there on the market. I've tried a bunch. I do like the ones that clip in, especially for the Quest 3, because the Quest 3 has this convenient seam here. And you can just get these little ones that just clip right in, and then they're kind of removable, so you can get them out and dust them off and clean them off if you really, really need to. I don't really like the ones that just stick on there. Sometimes we will do that. We will install just the clear, sticky, adhesive lens protectors that are kind of like screen protectors. like, and in instances like this, if the customer wants us to put screen protectors on, those are probably the ones that I'm going to put on, just because they're foolproof. And after this process, there kind of needs to be an additional protective layer anyway. But if you're just going to buy some and your lenses are in pretty good condition or in pristine condition because they're brand new, then get the ones that clip in because they're super convenient. How can I fix the uncontrolled fogging of my lenses? I've heard that the just like scuba mask anti-fog stuff works pretty well, like an anti-fog spray. I'd be careful with it. I've not experimented with that myself. Most of the time it's a temperature thing. So your headset's really cold and you're really hot, and you put your headset on and you don't feel like you're putting off a lot of moisture, but we're always putting out a lot of moisture, and that heats up the headset. And then because your lenses are cold, because they're in a cold room or they're in a backpack or whatever, then your lenses fog up. So yeah, that's the answer. Did the MetaQuest 3S ever catch on fire? I've not seen one catch on fire. I have seen charge port melt on the Quest 3Ss. The Quest 3s, Quest 2s, and Quest 3Ss are all prone to what we call charge port melt. I think I've got one in a box, actually. I've got one right here. Now this is a Quest 2, but it's the same thing. I'll show you here, actually. It's a Quest 2, but this is charge port melt. And it varies how bad this gets. Some of them are absolutely awful. And then other ones are a little bit more tame, like this one. Obviously, the charge port itself is ruined, and I'll probably end up replacing this portion of the shell that just kind of goes around here, as well as the charge port, just so that it doesn't look, ugly. But yeah, they do melt, and the 3S and the 3 do as well. So something to be aware of. Is it common? It's common for me because people send their headsets in, and it's an issue that I feel like I see a lot of. But I don't think it's super common. No, I see it the most on people who are using their headsets plugged in all the time. So they're either charging all the time because they're playing for really long sessions, or they have the extended battery straps and they unplug and replug those, or they play PC VR and standalone and they're unplugging and replugging. To the best that we can determine on our side, what happens is that because these charge ports are USB-C ports that are mounted on these flex ribbon cables, over time those solder points weaken, and if they weaken enough and they kind of break, then sometimes, in some cases, most of the time they just fail and we can just replace them. But in some cases, it causes an overheating issue that melts that plastic, and then as that melt and heat kind of spreads, it spreads to the rest of the charge port area and melts that as well. I just realized I only entered the last giveaway and not this one. Yeah, definitely do enter the current giveaway. The current giveaway is the Xbox 3S. So the Xbox Quest 3S. The Quest 3S, that's the Xbox limited edition. So yeah, so we're doing a current giveaway, and then the giveaway that we're announcing right now is the one that ended last Saturday. So that's the Blackout 3S. So it's a 3S headset that's been blacked out by us before they released the Xbox one. I did that and launched that giveaway. So it was kind of funny. It's kind of funny for me to be in the space and participating in this right now, because I felt like I was a really vocal proponent of Meta doing different colorways, and doing a black headset or a red headset or a blue headset or a translucent headset or whatever. And so much so, like, I really wanted to be as vocal about it as possible. So I was like, well, let's just, paint one, we'll tear one apart, tear it down to the components. We'll paint one, we'll clear coat it, and we'll do a giveaway out of it so that it gets a lot of attention. And then literally a month later, Meta's like, yeah, Black 3S sounds great. And then they launch. I'm sure that they were planning it before me. I mean, there's just no way that they just like saw, it's not possible that I was in any way affiliated with that, or even a partial cause to that. But it is really funny coincidence. How do you give the winner the headset? We have to send you the address, or do you just automatically know? Yeah, so once we announce the winner, we reach out to the winner. Obviously, everybody who entered into the giveaway, I have your contact information, the contact information that you've left with us, your email and your name and stuff like that. So the winner of the giveaway will, oh, thanks, Pyrite. I appreciate that. Thank you. So we have the contact information for everybody who participated in the giveaway. And yeah, Xbox is no longer a console retailer. It's just now a subscription system. That's kind of true. So yeah, so we'll reach out. We confirm their address. They provide us with their shipping address, confirm that they can receive it, because we've had that before as like some giveaway, I guess, entrance. They don't have a valid address, or they aren't currently living in the the country that the giveaway is applicable to. And there's certain like rules and regulations and laws that we kind of have to abide by with these giveaways. So we have to confirm that they're actually capable of receiving the unit. And then if they've confirmed their address and everything, then we just ship it. Yeah. What happens when a Quest 3 or 3S battery blows up? They don't really blow up, at least if they do. I've not seen that. They do expand sometimes. Sometimes we get this gassing effect. Let me see. I'll show you this. I don't know why I keep showing things up here, but I've got this camera right here. So this is a battery that has expanded out and inflated with gas due to failure on the in the battery. So most of the time, your headset battery, if it's doing this, you'll experience something like overheating, or your battery just won't retain a charge. So it would be very unlikely that this would cause any more issues than just overheating because it's pressing up on the motherboard and the fan, or just running out of battery like so quickly that it can't become a problem. If you have this and you're just staying plugged in all the time, then I guess it could be a problem, but I've not seen that yet. Most of the time, customers give up and they just mail it in to us so that we can swap their battery out. The thing that you have to be careful about this, though, is that this is a sealed container filled with gas. So, like off-gassing from the lithium ion. So there's a lot of technical terminology there that I'm not super familiar with. Preston, my business colleague and associate, he is a little bit better about the battery nomenclature than I am, but basically, if it gets this bad, then your headset's almost unusable, and then you send it in or you repair it yourself. Oh, but what I was going to say was, what you don't want to do is puncture this. If your battery's like this and you puncture it, that's bad juju, and then it's a real hazard. So you just got to be careful about that. How do you fix bad tracking on a Quest 2 controller? Usually bad tracking is the result of an issue with the IR rings. Did you miss the winner? Nope. We're announcing that in 46 minutes and something seconds, depending on where you are and how far behind my stream is. So anyway, we'll do more questions as we kind of go, but I definitely want to get into this because this is important, and I really wanted to go over this with you guys tonight. So if you've never taken off the silicone part of your Quest 3, it's actually fairly simple. Can everybody hear me pretty well, by the way? I've kind of got my mic here, and I should be able to catch my audio just the same as if I'm doing a short, but I'm not having headphones on right now because headphones are annoying to wear when you're trying to talk out loud. So if you can't hear me, I guess let me know, and I can kind of change things around, but it should be good. But my audio levels look like they're fine. Anyway, so if you've not taken off your silicone face shield on the Quest 3 yet, I'm not going to say that you should do this a lot, but it would be worthwhile for a lot of people, especially if you're a heavy sweater or you feel like you live in a dusty area, because a lot of stuff builds up underneath there, sweat and grime and skin and stuff. So, as I'm sure that we'll probably see here in just a second. Can you make a video about how to fix the lens, please? Because I'm going to go. My girlfriend just broke up with me. Oh, I'm sorry, Super Purple. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, you can always just catch this live stream later on if you need to. So I do cover lens repair in a lot of videos and live streams. So because it's a really common thing that people ask about a lot. So got my metal pry tool. There's a clip here at the bridge of the nose, and then there's a clip here at the top where the forehead is. And I'm just going to kind of catch the seam here where there's an opening and just kind of run my pry tool along and then pop that out. Perfect. And then there's another clip at the bridge of the nose. And I'll just kind of stick my finger up under there and pop that. Cool. And then you guys can kind of see this build up here. Kind of just gross. Cool. Then we have these little ring brackets that go around the eyes. It's just a Phillips screwdriver. So double 0-bit works pretty well for these. And then we'll just take out there's 3 screws that kind of go around each eye here. How much does it cost for you to check out my headset? Diagnosis, just like evaluation, starts at about $35. That kind of covers our time to look at things and our shipping costs. Can you make a video on the black screen repair? So yeah, I've made several videos about BSOD and tracking loss. Black screen's kind of a catch-all term that covers a lot of different things. So there's lots of things that can cause black screen. Bad microphone can cause black screen. Bad tracking cameras can cause black screen. Bad software updates can cause black screen. Bad proximity sensor can cause black screen. Black screen just means the headset's on, but it's not displaying an image. And unfortunately, there's a lot of different things that can cause that. So you kind of have to do the troubleshooting on your own end or send it in to us, and we can do the troubleshooting, and then you can kind of figure out, what's going on with it, and then how to address it. So, oh goodness. Cool. So we got those rings out. I use a couple different buffing tools here. So I have a Dremel tool that I use for this. The heads that I use for this, I have a cashmere buffing tool, a wool buffing tool, and then I kind of have this mop head wool buffing tool that just kind of helps me polish things out at the end. I start with my cashmere one because it's just a little rougher than the wool one. The wool one's kind of like my second step. And then we'll start with some polywatch. And I'm just going to do these. Usually I do these 2 at a time, but I'm going to do these 1 at a time so we can kind of examine the difference and get a better look at it. And then I don't want this splattering everywhere. So I'm just going to take my buffing tool and kind of smear it all over the place like this. And then we're just going to go on low speed. These cashmere buffing tools, they do shed a lot when you first start using them. And then the shed kind of wears down, or it goes away as they get more polywatch soaked into the fibers, and the fibers kind of wear out. So for the kids at home, see how these scratches have thin line gaps between them, and on this side, those gaps, I've started to kind of like already wear those away, where there's a kind of a patch in the middle. That's what we're looking for. And I'm going to use my buffing tool to take all of these scratches away, starting from the center and going outward. Because effectively what we're doing is the top layer, the UV coating protective layer that they put on top of this is ruined now. And we're just gonna strip it away as evenly and as slowly and carefully as we possibly can. Yep. I know that's kind of in the camera here. See if I can. Kind of in the camera. But we'll see what we can do here. And as I kind of go over the lens, that patch gets bigger and bigger because I'm taking off more and more of that top coating layer. And again, we're doing this as evenly and as gently as we can. I'm not applying a lot of pressure here. I'm letting the Dremel and the Polywatch do most of the work. If you put a lot of pressure on this while you're trying to do it, that's where you get those deep grooves. You kind of, it doesn't scratch the lens as much as it burns a hole into the lens. You're taking the friction of the buffing tool and turning it up 10 notches, and it heats up the plastic wherever it is and melts. You also kind of want to stay moving for this process. The more I can move around, the more even this is going to be, and the less likely it is that I'm going to ruin the plastic lens underneath. Many people say Polywatch is very bad. I mean, I don't think it's that Polywatch is bad. I think Polywatch is designed to do a thing. It's a tool for a job, and if you use it right, then it works. But I think a lot of people, this is not, I'm making this look really easy right now. I've had a lot of practice doing this. And see how I've got that ring now that kind of goes all the way around. All of this top coating has been stripped off in the center. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like people saying fire is bad. You know, fire is a tool. You can use it for different things. Fire can be great. Fire can keep you warm at night. Polywatch can be great. It can really help you with this process. It's out of all of the polishing substances that I've tried, it's the best, and I think that's because it's like a diamond based polishing. What would you call it? Compound. It's a diamond based polishing compound versus some of the other things that I've tried are more polymer based or grit based, like they've got bits of sand or other things in them. The Polywatch just seems to give me the best result, especially on the Quest 3s. And now I'm kind of going around the edge and taking off as much of this as I can so that we have a nice even layer. And if you guys watch my channel at all, you know that I don't really strongly recommend doing this process unless you are pretty proficient with this sort of thing already. It's just tricky. Like I said, I get a lot of practice at doing this. We probably do 20 or 30 of these a week. So I personally do probably 10 or 12 of these a week. So it's just something to be aware of. All right, cool. And so here's kind of the side-by-side. I kind of have my side that I've buffed. Now it's all glossy, or not glossy, but it's all greasy looking because I still have polishing compound on there. And then there's the other side. You can see all these lines where those glasses or washcloth or whatever scratched this surface is there. But this doesn't have any scratches anymore. It's greasy because it's got the polishing compound on there, but there's no scratches. So phase 2, let's move on to our wool buffing tool here. So cashmere's a little bit rougher. It's just a little bit more coarse. Wool is just a little bit softer. And this one's going to shed as well, like a mother. And I'm even going to put some more Polywatch on here just to give myself some more lubrication and prevent this from leaving any scratches. Yes, it sheds, and yes, I blow this out with an air compressor. This phase of the process does not take as long because I'm just kind of going over it just to soften out any rough edges left behind by the cashmere buffing tool. How much does it cost to get you to check out my headset? It's about $35 if you want to send it in. Yeah, by the way, I've not a plug to the website yet. So fixmyoculus.com is our website. If you guys have any need for parts or repairs or VR related t-shirts and apparel, you can do that on fixmyoculus.com. That's our website. You can also enter on our giveaways there. So when we have a giveaway going like we do right now, you can do that directly on the website. What happens to this headset? It's just got scratched lenses, and we're just trying to polish them up. All right. And then we're going to take our little wool. Man, it's just those fibers, they just get everywhere. And we're going to take our little wool mop head, and then I'm just going to go over this real soft. And again, not a whole lot of pressure here. I'm letting the Dremel and the mop head do most of the work. I'm going to get a different mop head, actually. I feel like that one has some stuff on it. Most of these wheels that I use are like single use. Maybe I can get 2 or 3 uses out of them before I kind of have to either throw them away or rinse them out. There we go. Cool. And that's kind of, so you guys can see the before, and that's the after. I've sent 2 separate controllers in twice, and both were fixed quickly, and great work. Appreciate your work. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Tabitha. So yeah. And then this lens in this condition is pretty good. There's nothing really wrong with this, per se. Let's try it. The more of that compound we can get off, the better. So I let my mop head do most of that work, taking that compound off. And that's pretty good. That's a huge improvement. I don't know how well you guys can see the before and the after. But anyway, I've sent to, on his home, made Black Quest 3. I would like to send you my Quest 3, but I'm from Latin America. You do an excellent job. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Is it Yonel? 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 Also, the so-called Xbox headset is literally just a Quest 3S with a Xbox color scheme. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I did a whole teardown video on that, actually. There's no improvements. It does come with Game Pass. I think it comes with the Meta Game Pass equivalent, whatever that's called. I can't keep these things straight. And then, yeah, there's not much to it other than that. It's a Quest 3S, but it's a cool looking Quest 3S. How do you join? You can join any giveaways on our website. How do you fix stick drift? You fix stick drift by replacing the joystick. We sell joysticks, replacement joysticks on our website, but you just need to replace the joystick module. I have tutorials on how to replace the joystick for every Meta controller. What's my name? I'm Dan. Dan from Fix My Oculus. Yeah, Horizon Plus. That's what it's called. Yeah, thank you. there is one more step here that I like to take, and this is kind of a weird one. This is my secret sauce, so don't tell anybody. It's just, have you ever worked on Pimax headsets? No, but I might be working on one here soon. Might be doing some videos on one here soon. So, so keep an eye out for those videos. This is my secret sauce. Synthetic wax. I know that sounds really crazy, but it just, as glossy looking, or as nice as that lens on the right is compared to the lens on the left. I mean, obviously it's a huge improvement because there's no big scratches on it. This will take the gloss up on it quite a bit, and it gives it a nice protective layer. So, because we lose the protective layer once the UV coating is destroyed. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're removing the UV coating when you polish those lenses. And it's like, it's already bad. We want to like leave it on there? Like, anyway. So anyway, so I'll take a little bit of this synthetic wax here, and then we're just gonna kind of rub it in a light layer. And again, by doing this, we fill some of the little tiny microscopic lines, creases, gaps that cause the lens not to be just super perfectly pristine and new looking. And then it'll also provide a little bit of protection against scratching or, you know, just normal wear and tear. So the problem with oops, I kicked something. The problem with the synthetic wax is that it has to dry. So you got to leave it like this for a few minutes. So while we're leaving it like that for a few minutes, we'll just chit chat. Bro, I'm so bored. Hurry up. I have a timer set. You can come back in 28 minutes if you're bored. I've seen a lot of people with the same category. This is better than me. Ever thought of putting painter's tape down around the areas you are working on? Yeah, just doing the headlight treatment is smart. I used to do the painter's tape. I found that there's not that much that actually gets inside of the headset. It looks bad because there's a lot of dust that goes around, but I have an air compressor that takes all of this out just in a second. So, yeah. I don't worry about the painter's tape too much. I used to, but it just becomes such a nuisance, and we do so many repairs, and we have to get through them fairly quickly. We would go through a lot of tape, and it really just doesn't seem to provide much benefit in this process. I've heard the Pro controllers brick with headset updates. Is this true? I was going to get them, but I'm unsure. The Pro controllers can brick because they run because they have their own tracking system, they run a software that's much more, or firmware that's much more complex than the Quest 2 and 3 controllers. So they can get stuck in bad updates the same way that a headset can. By the way, how are you doing, Dan? I'm good. How are you doing, gamer man? Do you like to game with VR headsets? When I can. I hardly ever have time. Our business here, I guess just to give you guys a little bit of insight into what we do, obviously we fix VR headsets and controllers. Most of our business is done through the mail. So people send their headsets and their controllers in, and for some reason, just in like the last like 3 or 4 months, our I don't want to say our customer base, but the amount of requests that we've received has just skyrocketed. We used to do like 200 or 300 repairs a month, and we thought that was awesome. Now we're doing closer to like 800 a month, and it just keeps going up and up and up. I was looking at, because we provide the shipping labels for all of our customers to send things in, and like just the packages that are in transit to us, it was like over 100 packages. We've had something like 1,000 requests for repairs in the last like week and a half. So I'm good, but I'm busy. And that's a big part of the reason why I don't play as much VR as I used to. Back in the day, I mean, when we first started this company, my business partner and I, we actually owned a VR arcade. So I used to play VR all the time. And that was like kind of a core component of what I liked to do in VR. And now it feels like I spend way more time making videos and talking about headsets and talking to you guys and doing this kind of thing. Do you have to have the highest entries, or is it just luck based? It is just luck based. So all of our giveaways, you could win with 1 entry. having more entries just increases your chances. So like, let's just say that there's 100 entries in total. If you have 10 entries, then you have a 10% chance of winning. If you have one, you have a 1% chance of winning. If you have 100 entries, then you have a 100% chance of winning. The last two giveaways, I couldn't tell you exactly. I think the Quest 3 giveaway, we had about 100,000 entries, and the Quest 3S, the one that we're announcing the winner of tonight, we had 50,000 entries, I think, 50 or 60. And then the Xbox Quest 3S giveaway that we're doing right now has about 30,000 entries. So again, it is luck-based. You could win with one entry. And I think the winner of the Quest 3, I think he had 10 entries out of, 100,000 entries. I just got into VR Tuesday. I'm blown away. That's awesome. Congratulations, Apex. I love VR. It's why we do what we do. It's why we're here. But yeah, so yeah. Enter as many times as you can. Do everything that you can to win. Having the most entries or having a lot of entries doesn't guarantee a win, because again, you could just win with just one entry. It's totally based on luck. What's your favorite VR headset to use? Probably the Quest 3, just because it's the most convenient. I like my PC VR based experiences. I have a Valve Index. I have an HTC Vive Pro 2. I just don't find myself using them as much because they're inconvenient. Most of the time when I'm playing VR, it's, I want to go into the living room and play so I don't bother my wife, or, like maybe I want to like watch a movie in bed or something like that. So the 3 is just super convenient for that purpose. In case you missed my question earlier, have you done a comparison of the MetaQuest 3 and the Pico 4 Ultra? I think I did, actually. I think I made a short comparing the Quest 3 and the Pico 4 Ultra, and I got lambasted in the comments because everybody was like, well, the Pico 4 is really a Quest 2 competitor. Actually, I take that back. It's not the Pico 4 Ultra. I did the Pico 4 Enterprise. So maybe I need to get my hands on the Pico 4 Ultra and do a comparison. So yeah, I guess I need to get one. It's not quite the Ultra. I think that the resolution is different, and I think the processor is different, but it's got a lot of cool... The Enterprise Pico 4 has a lot of cool features, like the automatic IPD adjustment and the full color pass-through. So anyway, this is probably about dried now. So the synthetic wax compound that I put on here. So we're going to go ahead and take my mop head buffing tool, and we're just gonna buff this out just like we would with a car. Cool. There's like some glare coming off my phone there, so I don't think like those little lines that you see, they're not the lens, they're my phone. But get out of there, dust. And again, I usually take these back with an air compressor after I'm done with them. So, but you can see there is a difference between the one that I haven't done and the one that I did. Is it ever going to be brand new? It's probably never going to be brand new. We can put new lenses on there. It's kind of an extreme measure. I feel like this most of the time gets you, if your lenses are scratched in this way, this is a pretty good solution, avoiding a costly repair and lens replacement. So yeah, I mean, it looks really good. This is a huge improvement. I would do this on my headset if I had this level of scratches. Any deeper than this, and it's probably not a good solution. You're really trying to catch it before you create deep grooves. If you can feel it with your finger, then it's probably too deep. These are just very surface level scratches in that UV coating, and so that's kind of what makes it possible to fix. But anyway, I'm very interested in the internal structure of the Quest 3S. I want to ask whether or not the fan will accumulate dust. That's a good question, and lucky you, I just happen to have an open Quest 3S. So I'll go ahead and answer that question for you. All of the fans accumulate dust. Like, let's just get that out of the way. Like, the way that the Quest 3, 2, and 3S all take in air is from the bottom, and they all spew it out from the top. They do that in slightly different ways. And I don't have a Quest 2 that's open right now for me to show you. They all do that in slightly different ways, but the fan induction is from the bottom to the top. And I would say, as far as dust accumulation goes, the Quest 3 seems to be the worst. And I don't know if that's just because of the way that the faceplate is designed, where, like, if it's got a wider gap versus this, where it's kind of got the Bluetooth antenna tucked over it. I don't think I've got a Quest 3 fan in front of me anywhere. The Quest 3 fan's also slightly bigger. Let's see what I got here. Yeah, no, unfortunately not. The Quest 3 fan is also slightly bigger. Maybe that's a contributing factor. They do accumulate dust. This is a particularly clean example that hasn't accumulated dust. The thing that I'll say in favor of the Quest 3 and the Quest 2 compared to the Quest 3S and the Quest 2 compared to the 3 is that the 3 seems to have this little quirk where, and I wish I had an open one to show you guys. The 3 seems to have a little quirk where 2 of the screws will come out. I was going to say maybe I had one here, but I think I tossed them all. Hold on, everybody. Yeah. So this is a 2 bracket, or this is a 2 fan with the bracket built in. Fan kind of sits on the back here, and the airflow comes in from the bottom and then spews out through the top, or it comes in through here, I guess, and then spews out through the top. But the airflow comes in through the bottom of the headset is what I'm trying to say. The Quest 3 fan bingo. The Quest 3 fan has this bracket that holds it in. And unlike the 3S and the 2, it doesn't have a plastic shield to prevent things from falling into it. Which means that sometimes these little screws, this one right here that holds this bracket down, come out. I don't know if they're just not machined properly or what happened, but sometimes, every now and then, maybe 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 fan repairs that we do, people send their headset in because it's overheating, my fan isn't working anymore. It's just because this little screw fell out of this little bracket and straight into the fan. And that's a huge engineering flaw on Meta's part. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how they missed that. Dude, that Xbox edition is low-key fire. I think it's so cool looking. Can you show how different the Quest 2 and 3S CPUs are? I don't know that there's a really good way to articulate how different they are, but I could probably show you a board. That's a Quest 2 board. And then, oh, these are Quest 3 boards right here. I don't think I've got a 3S board. Maybe I do. Seems unlikely. Oh. Aha. That's the board. So you've got a Quest 2 board, a Quest 3 board, and then a Quest 3S board. And even though the Quest 3S and the Quest 2 board look identical at first glance, this actually has the same processor as the Quest 3. These two units use the same built-in CPU and GPU that, well, they both use the same CPU and GPU. Because the Quest 2 has the earlier generation, the Snapdragon XR1. I think that's right. I don't have my script with me right now. The Quest 2 had the XR1, the Quest Pro had the XR Plus, and then the Quest 3 and 3S both have the XR2. Are you the company owner? Yeah, that's me, co-owner. Me and my buddy Preston own this company together. Do y'all think game developers should add VR to their games? I think it really depends on the game. I don't think a whole lot of games really benefit from the VR aspect, honestly. I'm going to paint the green parts of my Quest 3S carbon black just in case I don't win. That's cool. Can you put a Quest 3S board into a Quest 2? No, you can't, for a multitude of reasons. I suppose if you were really, really dedicated to it, you could probably finagle it, but just all of the different connectors and placement of those connectors, just because of the way that the Quest 3S board is designed, it would be complicated. There are things that you could do, like the connection for the display is identical, the connection for the battery is identical, the connections for the audio left and right speakers are identical, but everything else is going to be wildly different. I realized that I should have tagged you in my Twitter post without permission. Oh, it's fine. You can tag me. Do your thing. How many VR headsets do you own, Dan? I mean, if you want to get real technical, it's probably in the hundreds. Because my company here, Fix My Oculus, what we do here, we acquire hundreds of headsets in order to do and facilitate our repairs. Personally, I have 6 or 7. I'm thinking I've got a Quest 1, I've got the Quest 2, I've got the 3, I've got the 3S, I've got a Valve Index, I've got an HTC Vive Pro 2. Is that 6? 6 headsets. I've had other headsets before. I've had a Rift S, I've had a CV1, I've had the HTC Vive. I just never used them, so we just ended up donating them and giving them away. What was the first headset you ever used? It was an HTC Vive at an arcade, at a VR arcade in Bozeman, Montana. I love the idea of the amount of headsets you own has decimal places because you have extra parts. Yeah, it really does, though. DMEC Gaming, what's up? How much are repairs? Repairs vary in cost based on what kind of repair you need. So LCD repairs more expensive than a microphone repair. Fan repairs less expensive than a battery repair. Depends on the unit too. Master of Music, you're done. Okay, bye. Can you show the IP slider connects to the lenses? How the IP slider connects to the lenses? You mean on the 3S? Or are you talking about the 3? On the 3, it's really hard to see, but there's that little wheel. See, it's just a wheel there, and it connects. It's got a gear that connects to this little rod here, and then it just pulls the lenses across that little rod. That's pretty much all there is to it. On the 2 and the 3S, you don't really have a slider. It's just got a clippy thing, and then there's a magnet actually back here that has a sensor, and that magnet sensor combo is what detects the shift in the IPD adjustment. Is there a way to extend the field of vision to a Quest 3S? I'm a big person about FOV. Not really. It's kind of fixed into what it is. I mean, I'm sure that if you were kind of dedicated to it, you could probably get into the software and maybe extend these out just a little bit. But unfortunately, it's just The way that these are designed, I don't know if I have one. Maybe I do. Being a single panel LCD, the way that these are designed, you're kind of at the maximum edge of where the LCD is anyway. The LCD is just this little thin line here. That's your actual LCD, and then it's protected by this aluminum plate. So you could extend the lenses out further, but you're just going to get black on the outsides, which is a problem. I wonder who had the most total entries. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I can see that actually on my end. Probably. I could probably rank. No, I can. I can actually see people like by total entries. Maybe we'll put that data out to our email subscribers or something like that. Like who had the most entries or something. It'd be kind of cool. How easy is it to go between the clicks for the 3S for the eyes? Oh, I mean, it's super easy. Like it's just that right there. If it's harder than this for you, that means that there's something stuck in that gear mechanism there. So it's either debris or it's a piece of plastic or something's wrong, because it should be super easy to switch back and forth. Could it be possible for you to show a broken Quest 3 camera? Yes and no. I know I've got some ones that don't work here. This camera assembly came out of a Quest 3 that I was working on the other day. So neither one of these there's something wrong in the system, and I've not had time to actually like see if it's, you know, one of the sensors or if it's one of the cameras itself. But these are effectively the cameras. Neither one of them is physically damaged, but one of these is broken and it's causing a tracking issue. So rather than sitting there and just fighting with it for hours and hours and hours, I just replaced this whole thing for the customer. And I only charge them for the one thing, by the way. So, but a lot of times, just to save myself time, I will just replace an entire apparatus of something, and then they just kind of get a new one, and then I keep the bad one, and then I have somebody else on my team test these to see where the actual failure point is, and then we'll recycle the working components. So. The chance for the top entry person to win is still pretty low. Yeah, well, I mean, we have a lot of entries, so even if you had 100 or 200 entries, I mean, you know, 200 out of 50,000 is still pretty low odds. Can I still join? You can't join this giveaway, but we do have another giveaway. So our Xbox 3S giveaway is currently live on our website. So if you guys are not currently entered into the Xbox 3S giveaway, go do that on our website right now. Cool. Gosh, guys, we've only got, what, 7 minutes left. I'll refresh this page. What is the best VR of all time? Well, that's a complex question. There's a lot of layers to that. What's the most popular VR headset of all time? It's definitely the Quest 2. Like, no comparison. The Quest 2 sold like 25 million units. I think the Quest 3 so far has sold like 5 million units, and the Quest 3S has sold like 2 million units. The best VR headset of all time, and again, it's like, what do you mean by best? Like, the one that kind of like set us in motion was probably the HTC Vive. The HTC Vive showed that it was possible in a commercial way that other headsets hadn't before. We had other headsets before that, kind of like the developer kits, and my timing is a little off here because a lot of things came out between like 2012 and 2014. But the Vive was like, okay, this is a commercially viable VR headset that people could use, and they don't have to have a supercomputer to make it work. I think the minimum requirements back then were like a 1060. Maybe a 1060 Ti, or maybe a 1050 Ti or 1060. I can't remember. But it was pretty low minimum requirements on that. And then, so the HTC Vive was a foundational headset. The Quest 2 was a foundational headset. The Quest 1 was a foundational headset. So the original Oculus Quest, because prior to the Oculus Quest, like standalone VR was really not a thing. As far as like specs and like just an elite level quality, probably the Varios. As far as like frame rate and field of view, probably one of the Pimaxes. As far as like most popular for PC VR, probably the Valve Index. But, you know, is it a popularity contest? Is it a best overall contest? If it's a best overall contest, then it's probably some like non-commercial unit, like, you know, one of the Varios, like a non-consumer unit, I should say. But I don't know. We've got some headsets in the mail coming to us, and I'm hoping to give those a test and have a video kind of answering that question about what's the actual best headset. And maybe this is a question for you guys. So drop me a comment. If money was not an option, if money was not an option and you wanted the best spec VR headset on the market right now, what would you get? So that's a question for you guys in the comments. Controller is broken. Can you fix it? Love what you're doing and always giving us an insider look into these devices. Do you know if you have any big competitors who do what you do? I don't know if I've got any big competitors. I know that other people fix VR headsets. I think that we do it better. And I think that we're probably the most experienced out of any company just because we've been doing it the longest. We've been doing this since 2020, which is a long time. So basically since the Quest 2 came out. Does the winner have to pay for shipping? No, I'll pay for shipping. I don't usually make my customers pay for shipping anyway, unless they're like, you know, pretty far away. Hey, Dan, would it be possible with a custom 3D printed parts to put the Quest 3S's lenses facial interface into the, or Quest 3's into the 3S? No, because the Quest 3 has a dual panel LCD. So you would need to find a way to split the video connection on the board itself, which I'm not qualified to speak on how complicated that would be, but I imagine it's very complicated. I tried setting up one of the Quest 2s on the MetaQuest app from an arcade machine. That's funny. Big Screen Beyond 2. Big Screen Beyond 2 is a good pick. I think that that's a reasonable answer for the question. The newest Pimax. That's also a reasonable answer. I hope I get a chance to try one out here soon. I'd say the Valve or the Pico are really good ones. Valve and Pico are both good. You know, the Valve is, I think, aged pretty well, but it's definitely aged. You know, people talk about the Valve Index as like the pinnacle of VR in a lot of conversations that I've been a part of, and I think that that's a lot of that is nostalgia at this point. Because spec-wise, it's not as good as the Quest 3. It's a great headset. It's got some great features. Spec-wise, it's not as good as the Quest 3. Just for real. My son wants to be able to download games from Steam on his Quest. To do it, I don't know how to do it. Is that possible? No, it's not really possible, but you can use the MetaQuest link or Steam link or Virtual Desktop to play games on a computer in Steam. So I would recommend Virtual Desktop. That seems to be the go-to in the, you know, the wireless PC VR meta community. Obviously there's other things out there, and it kind of depends on how good your Wi-Fi is and what your limitations are. But, you know, doing it with a link cable is a good option. Doing it with Virtual Desktop is a good option. And then you just play those games through Steam. Yes, I do have a problem with my controller. It doesn't want to turn on. I have like full battery. It's fully charged. When it lights up, it starts blinking and turns off like 3 minutes later. It's hard to say. T-Tag Gaming VR. Sometimes when I see things like that, like the lighting up and turning off, it's an indication of liquid damage. It's difficult to say. I'm trying to join the giveaway. So our giveaway right now, if you wanted to join, so this giveaway is not currently active, the one that we're announcing here in a minute. But the one that we have currently active is the Xbox 3S giveaway. Let me go grab those headsets right quick. We have 1 minute left, and I forgot to grab them before the stream started, so I'll be right back. All right. What's my name? My name's Dan. It's nice to meet you guys. Let's see. I'll lift this up a little bit. Boop. just for reference, so nobody's confused. This is the Blackout 3S, and this is the Xbox One. Not too different, a little different. Mine's obviously like rougher because, you know, this is actual black plastic. All right, and the winner of the Blackout Quest 3S giveaway is, thanks for sticking around, everybody. Austin from Round Rock, Texas. Congratulations, Austin. That is our winner of the Blackout 3S giveaway. If you guys didn't win, we have a giveaway going on currently. So you guys can participate in the Xbox 3S giveaway that we have on our website. It's fixmyoculus.com. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for playing. We are going to keep doing giveaways. So if you didn't win, I already said this. If you didn't win, please participate in the current giveaway. You get loyalty points for every giveaway. So loyalty points just add up over time. You get more points, more entries every time you play. We're going to do a giveaway again at the beginning of August, and we're going to do one at the end of August going into September for Labor Day weekend. We're going to do probably one in October, and then we're probably going to do a bunch of giveaways at the end of the year. So if you didn't win, don't be discouraged. I am going to keep giving away headsets and VR gear. We've got some really cool things lined up. The one, I'm really excited for the one at the end of, or I guess August, at the beginning of August. We're going to start that giveaway. We have not made that official announcement yet about the timing exactly, but it'll be at the beginning of August. So right now we've got the Xbox One. And the only reason that we have the Xbox One going on currently is because Meta surprised us with it. We had no idea that this was coming. And then just out of the blue, it's like, oh, Meta might drop a new headset on Tuesday. It's like, Meta might drop a new headset on Tuesday. Like, where is this coming from? And then sure enough, like Tuesday rolls around and we've got this Xbox limited edition Quest 3S. I'm hoping that we get an Xbox Quest 3 at the end of the year. You know, that'd be a pretty cool Christmas giveaway. I'm just saying. So if you guys aren't subscribed, stay subscribed. If you're not interested in the current giveaway for the Quest, for the Xbox Quest 3S, enter into the giveaway. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Got some new videos coming at you this weekend. Stay subscribed.